Hey everybody! Well, today I thought I would do a final review of the R2-D2 from Fanhome / D'Agostini. Now, I just finished this robot, I just finished R2, and it was a 2-year and 2-month build process, and he's absolutely amazing. As you can see here, he moves really nice, he's fully functional, and it's one of these Partwork kits. Now, I did a full series on this, 26 parts to the series, and as you can see here, he's got lots of functionality. He's all remote controlled from an app. There's also voice controls that you can do with him. And he looks amazing, and he's big. He's 1/2 scale, which is probably about right. And he weighs a ton. I would love to put him on a scale to see how heavy it is. He's surprisingly heavy. And he's just got some great things and sound effects. Let me see. He's got all kinds of cool features. Let me move him forward here. So I can turn on his the little lights right here that look fantastic, and then let me turn his head the other way, and we got this one here, and that's the long, and those are really neat. So just like the real R2, and these are actual LCD screens, and it's really neat. And he does things on his own. Like right now he's doing all that by himself. I am not doing any of this. So just like the real R2, you know, he kind of had a mind of his own, and this is such a great robot. Now, as I mentioned, this is a Partwork kit. Now I want to talk about the good and the bad about building this model. I built 2 of these Partwork kits. I started, the first one I did was the Enterprise D from Eaglemoss, and I had a really bad experience with that. Eaglemoss ended up going out of business, but fortunately I quit building it after stage 50. It had 120 stages, I believe, and it would have taken 2.5 years to build that Enterprise, but the kit was just so bad, I stopped after stage 50. And then shortly, a few months after, the whole company went belly up. They just went completely out of business. So thankfully, Fanhome, which is the company that makes R2 here, they took over some of the kits that Eaglemoss had, which is good because a lot of people were left hanging with unbuilt models, and these things are not cheap. So let's talk about the good things. First of all, as you can see here, he's got some great features. Now let me turn him around this way. I want to show you that he's got all kinds of cool things. Like you can open his little arms like that. Those little blue utility arms. That's very, very cool. Also, all these panels open up, and you can manually take out the little arms in here. That, like this thing here, that was like the thing that he would, you know, attach to the computer. Let me turn him this way. You can see how long that is. So he would access computers with that thing right there. He's also got a little compartment here. Actually, you have to open this one. Oh, now see, he's doing that completely by himself. I didn't even do that. That is so cool. He's got another panel right there. That is all awesome. I love that he's got a mind of his own here. This panel opens up. There's another couple of utility arms in here that you can take out. See, he did that by himself. I didn't even touch that. Here's another panel right in here. So he's just like the real R2. He's like a real astromech. He's got all kinds of cool utility things. There's 2 different arms here. One is at the top, and then one opens up from the bottom. Those are his little claws and stuff like that. So you can see if I can zoom in on there. See that little claw right there? It's very neat. So you build all of this stuff. So these kits, they come in stages, is what they're called. And there's 100 stages to this R2-D2. And the first delivery of parts, you get the first 2 stages, and it's at a discounted price. And then after that, you get the next stages, and there's 4 stages per parts pack, like each delivery every month. So because it's 4 stages per month, it takes you about 2 years and 2 months to complete this model. So that's a long time to devote. But very cool. Let me show you his cool holographic, like his hologram projector right here. It's really neat. Okay, so let me show you the first one. This is Princess Leia.
Kenobi, you're my only hope. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
It's very, very cool. And here's the Luke Skywalker one.
As a token of my goodwill, I present to you a gift. These 2 droids. Both are hardworking and will serve you well.
That is awesome. One of the great features of this R2-D2. He also has this great lightsaber feature right here. See how it pops out of there? That is Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, and you can actually take the whole thing out. And you actually build this too. It's a very nice replica of it. So we put it back in here. We'll put the lid like that, and then you can actually make it go down. It works so good. It's a really cool feature. You build all the mechanics in this model as well. So I've always wanted a full-size R2-D2, but of course those things are so expensive. If you want to build one yourself, you're really going to have some serious skills. But you can get a lot of parts from the R2-D2 Builders Club. I've also seen some full-size ones that you can buy, but they're about $25,000. I think Disney sells one, which is pretty amazing. But I'm trying to keep him from driving off on his own here. But this one here, the parts are really nice quality. That dome is all metal. You got the nice plastic pieces. Yeah, they're plastic, but there's an all metal frame in there. Very nice quality motors in his feet right down there, and there's a nice quality motor in the head. And the build was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun building this, and I'm amazed at how good he looks. I've bought a lot of remote control R2-D2s in my day, but none of them even compare to this one. Especially because he's got these cool looking lights in here. They look exactly like they're supposed to on the TV, or on the movie. So you can see all that neat little, look at all that. That's an LCD screen that does that. Let me show you this one here. See how those are colored? Look at the nice pattern they did on that. You put this whole dome together using like a framework, and then you put the panels in. You screw it all together. The only thing you need is a screwdriver. That's the only thing you're going to need to build this. So it's a very nice thing. You don't need any crazy tools or anything, but if you do need any different kind of tools, they'll provide that for you. Now I also like the speed that he drives. You can see that he doesn't go crazy on the speed. I have the Disney Parks R2-D2, and he moves so fast. A lot of these remote control R2-D2s move too fast. Now it's probably because the sheer size of this guy, because he is pretty big. This is so cool. I love it. And there's like a little dance thing. Let me see if I can find that. Here he goes. Sometimes he gets stuck in a little loop right there, which is interesting. Yes, I'm not sure what happened there. I'm not sure if it's the app. This app's been around for a while, and they had to reintroduce it when this kit came out for the second time. The first time this came out, it was mostly available in the European countries and not so much here in the US. So when Fanhome took over this kit, they made it more available to everyone here in the US, which was nice, because I really wanted to build this really bad the first time, but I wasn't too familiar with these Partwork kits at the time. Alright, so all these awesome things I've been saying about it, now I want to talk about some of the things that I didn't like about it. So as I mentioned, this is a Partwork kit, and I'm not really a fan of those. I mean, I understand why they do it the way they do. These kits are not cheap. When you're done paying for this whole thing, I spent $1,635.22. That's how much it cost me to build this guy. Now, like I said, it's monthly that you pay for these parts. So every month I was getting billed $65.56. Which is fine, at least you can afford that, and it's not too bad, it's not really a real harsh shock to the system. But the price did go up by about $5. It went up to about $69.56, so it went up about $4. And that was near the end of the build, thankfully. So during the course of the time that you're going to build this, and it is going to take you more than 2 years to build him, the price will more than likely go up. There's also the risk of the fact that you could possibly have delays in parts. Now that happened to me. I had some terrible delays in parts in April of 2022 through August of 2022. For about 5.5 months I got no parts at all. That's so cool. And so I called Fanhome, I emailed him. Nobody seemed to know what the problem was. These are all the cool sounds that he makes. And I couldn't get any answers. It was thanks to the World of Wayne channel. I got to give a big shout out to Wayne from the World of Wayne channel here on YouTube. He's got connections with Fanhome because he gets a lot of these kits for free to show on his channel. So he contacted somebody down there at Fanhome, and I don't know who he talked to or what he said. But he said that whatever he did, the parts started coming in again. Now, to Fanhome's credit, they did try to get me caught up because I was 5 months behind on this kit. And so when they started sending parts again, they actually sent me two parts packs, so it was about 8 stages, which was great. And then the next few months, they started sending me the parts about 3 weeks apart instead of 4, so that actually got me caught up. So by the time I was done with this, I was at the normal time. I thought I was going to be much further, late at building it. So thankfully, that was a good thing that they did, and I really appreciate that they did it. So, let's see, what else? There was some things that I didn't like about it. When you're building this, there is no labels for the screws. The screws are not labeled at all. You are constantly trying to figure out what screws you're going to use. So here are the screws that I had left over after I was done, and you can see they come in these little packages, but they're not labeled, so you're guessing half the time. Now, at least between the black and the silver, that does make it easier. Some of these are flanged, some of them are long, and they have the threads at the end or something like that. But 95% of the time, you're guessing at what screw you're supposed to use. They give you the measurements. They'll say, well, you're going to use the 3 by 2.6 millimeter screws. So now you got to keep breaking out the ruler to measure it because you're not really sure, because some of them are really close to being the same measurement. So it was really frustrating. And the further you get along in the kit, the more complicated it gets because you have all these screws left over. Another thing is they would send you screws and parts long before you ever use them. For instance, on R2's head right here, that little where his camera is, that they sent us the lens for that somewhere at the very beginning of this build, and I thought, why, you don't even put it on until near the very end of the build, so why did they send it to you that long? So now you're hanging on to all these parts trying to make sure you don't lose anything, and it's just frustrating, because it's almost like they want you to lose them, so you have to rebuy that parts stage. I don't know, it kind of makes you wonder. But the other thing is, they do send you a box. This is the box they sent me for these screws and stuff, but they send it to you about halfway through the build, and you're going to need one of these long before that. So I bought this from Walmart, and it's like they really need to send this to you much sooner, and it needs to be bigger. There's not enough compartments here to hold all these. As you can see, I ended up going with a bigger one. So that's something that I wish they would have done. Something else that would have been helpful is if they had sent us some binders to put all these magazines in. I mean, look how many magazines are in here. It's insane. You figure there's about 4 magazines per stage. So I bought these binders from Amazon. I don't think they were very cheap either. They're like $30 or something like that. And it's the only way you can put all these in here. I bought these little plastic things to put on these magazines, but as you can see here, I mean, there's just a ton of magazines in here, and these are really, really heavy. So, and I want to keep them, just in case I need them for reference for anything. But at least with the Enterprise, I'm having a hard time flipping this over, but you get the idea here. So I split them in half. See, this is books 1 through 50, and then over here I got books 51 through 100. So we have all of these. That's just a lot of magazines. So at least with the Enterprise from Eaglemoss, they were sending you these binders. So I'm kind of surprised that D'Agostini doesn't. And also with the Enterprise, I think they sent you 1 magazine for all 4 stages. And that was a lot less wasteful than what we got going on here. There's 1 magazine per stage, and I think they definitely could have cut these down as well to just 1 magazine for 4 stages, because it's just a huge waste. So I don't know. These are the parts that you're going to have left over when you're finished. So you're going to have the stand right here. There's a circuit board that we used for testing. I think there's another one right there. That's the little hinge that they sent to you at the very beginning of this whole build, and you don't even end up using it. And you wouldn't have used it till close to about the middle of the build. There's the lens that we replaced. I had a couple of those things left over. That is the bumper that we replaced in his head. That's the charging cable for the charger, and I would recommend that you keep this battery charger, because in case you have to replace all the batteries, you're going to have to go through the whole process of charging them one at a time again. And then that's the cover that was left over for the circuit board in R2's head, and then that's the battery pack that we used for all the testing. So you will have a few things left over. So my biggest problem with these models, these Partwork models, is that these companies will not let you buy the whole kit. You have to wait. You have to buy it piece by piece. So every month, as I mentioned, they send you the parts. But I want to be able to just buy the whole thing, because I don't want to spend 2 years. Well, some of them are like 2.5 years long for the build process. I don't want to spend 2.5 years or 2+ years putting something like this together. I want to be able to build it at my leisure when I want to, when I got the time for it, and at least I have all the parts. The other reason is because when I was building the Enterprise D from Eaglemoss, the company went out of business. And so you don't even know if these companies are going to be around in 2+ years. It's kind of risky. You rely completely on whether or not the company's going to still be around. Now, I think it was a bit of a fluke with Eaglemoss, but I think it's happened before where another company went out of business. And thankfully, companies like Fanhome, who sell R2 here, other Partwork companies, they did take over and started selling the models at Eagle Moss was selling. So at least everybody who was left hanging with incomplete models were able to get back to building it. But some of that is just getting started now, so we'll see how that goes. But that's a lot of money to put into a model. When I quit building the Enterprise, I had about $720 invested into it until I realized that that model was absolute garbage. This model here, I can't say the same. This is a beautiful, beautiful R2-D2. This is such a beautiful R2. I mean, I am so impressed at how good he looks. This is really top-notch, top quality, so I am very happy about that. Now, another thing about this R2 is he does use some weird batteries. If you watch my build video, that he uses these 18350 batteries. I can't remember the number. They're very unusual. They used to be really hard to find, but they're more and more available now. I think even Amazon might carry some of them. I found mine from Ultrafire batteries, and that was the ones that they showed in the instructions too. So, but I heard about them before I even knew that that's what they were using for their instructions. But yeah, you're going to have to buy those, and they're about $10 a piece, and he uses 6 of them. So you're going to plop $60 down just to get the batteries. So it'd be kind of nice if they would offer the batteries with this kit, because for a while there they were really hard to find. Now, another thing when I was building this is I noticed that a lot of these stages really could have been combined. They could have knocked this whole thing down to 50 stages instead of 100. Now, I know that would have boosted the price of each delivery, but I would have preferred that because, you know, it's like some of the stages, you put 3 parts together and it takes you, you know, less than 5 minutes, and they call that a stage. And some of the stages definitely could have been combined with others. So I found it kind of frustrating because I felt like a lot of times I wasn't getting my money's worth. You almost feel like you're getting ripped off because you're just not getting a whole lot of parts, you know. And so, yeah, that was frustrating. And I know the reason they do that is to stretch it out, because that way it makes you pay more money. It's all about the money, of course. And so I kind of feel that that's frustrating. And I don't know, just another reason why I wish they would just let you buy the whole thing. Another thing is you know, you're spending, you're having to pay shipping every time that those parts get shipped. That's 26 separate deliveries that are being sent to your house. And I just feel like it's kind of irritating because, you know, I'd rather pay one, I'd rather just pay one flat rate, get all the parts, and that way they're at your house. You don't have to worry about shipments. You don't have to worry about the company going out of business or delays because you have the whole kit. So these companies need to give you the option, the customer the option, that if they want to spend the money, plop down the full amount, and buy it, they need to let us do that. I don't like that you're being forced to only get these, like, you know, stages at a time. I just think it's a horrible way to build a model. And I will say that because of that method, I will not be building another one of these kits. There's a whole bunch of other ones I'd like to build, like the Ecto-1, the Knight Rider. He's doing all this stuff on his own. And what else? There's an Alien from the Aliens. I'd like to build that too. There's all kinds of kits, but I'm not going to sit here and wait 2 years to build another model. It's just a horrible method. I just don't like it. So I know some people are fine with it, and that's fine. But for me personally, when I work on a project, I want to keep working on it, and I want to get the job done. And I just feel like, you know, once I was done building a month's worth of stages, that was it. And then you got to put everything in the corner somewhere and let it collect dust. And it was just kind of frustrating. Now, having said all those negatives, I don't know. I really love R2-D2. For me personally, all of you that watch my videos know how much I love R2. He's probably one of my favorite robots, and you know how much I love robots. I love them so much. And R2 is definitely one of my favorites, and this is such a nice quality R2. As I said, this is the best one I've ever had. He is just amazing and so heavy. I got to put him on a scale and find out how much he weighs. I bet he's a good 25 pounds. I mean, he's a hefty boy. And I love the size of him, and the metal dome, I mean, he just looks good. And if you wanted to weather him, I suppose you could probably do that. I contemplated on weathering him, but I don't know. I don't want to take the chance of messing anything up and getting paint and stuff down inside of him. And I kind of like him looking minty fresh like that. So it's very cool. So I don't know. Is it worth buying this? Gosh, that's a tough question. That is a tough question. I kind of feel like if this was available for retail to just buy where it's already built and stuff, they'd probably charge about maybe $1,000 to maybe $1,100 or even $1,200 for something like this. And you're paying over $1,600 for it. And I think that the reason the price is so high is because they can kind of get away with it because you're paying in small increments. So you got to really decide, do you want to spend more than $1,600 on this? And actually, by the time you're done, it's probably going to be closer to $1,700 because the price is going to go up. But I would say he's really cool. If you're a huge Star Wars fan and a huge R2-D2 fan, I don't know. I hate to say that he's worth it because I feel like he's a little more expensive than he should be. But then when I sit here and play with him, he's so neat. He's just so cool. I absolutely love this guy. He's amazing. So I guess you're just going to have to kind of dig deep into yourself and say, is this something that I kind of want to spend a lot of time doing? Or, oh, his sounds are so cool. Let's see, there's one that I found that was really funny. It almost sounds like he's farting. Let me see if I can find that one. Might be the whoop, stifled laugh. Let's see what the... That one's neat because it's got an echo in it. There's some grumbling. I think that's what they called that. Oh, here it is. It's called short raspberry. That's so neat. I showed some of this in my final video for R2, the final assembly video. So anyway, oh gosh, I guess I would say, I kind of want to say he's worth it if you're a huge R2 fan, but I kind of want to say that he's about maybe $400 more expensive than he should be. But man, he's so cool, and this gratification, you know, the gratifying feeling of completing this guy and having him done and seeing him working and all that stuff is just really, really cool. All right, well, anyway, I just kind of wanted to kind of cover some of these things in case you're contemplating on getting R2. Just know what you're kind of getting into. Just know it's going to take you a long time to put them together, and maybe they'll offer the kit as a whole kit once the whole thing has been out for a while. But, oh, he got stuck here. Let me see if I can back him up. Let me get him back up here. Oh, there we go. I don't have a whole lot of room in my house to play with him, and he really shouldn't run on carpet, and I don't recommend that you take him outside either. You don't want to get dirt and gravel inside there. That would really mess things up. So I just use these boards to kind of play with him. And he's probably going to be more of a display piece than anything, and just take him out occasionally just to play with him. But, oh gosh, he's so cool. I love it. So I guess you'll have to decide for yourself if you want to spend $1,600 on this, but at least if you're paying monthly, it's not such a painful thing. But I hope you found this helpful, and if you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'd very much appreciate it. And until the next time, I will catch you on the next video. So thank you again, and have a good one. Ha ha ha.